Ecclesiastes 3:7 tells us that there's a time to be silent and a time to speak. I'm Melena Rose Brown, and you're watching Desperate Heart, Beautiful Feet. Stay tuned. Refraining from talking when not necessary is a sign of maturity and wisdom. We live in a politically and socially intense climate right now because we've had years of questionable media content on TV, as well as now years of people posting their ideas, beliefs, affiliations, and things like that on social media, while we also post our own. That's led to a really mean and judgmental society and culture. We're divided on every topic. We have no tolerance for anyone else's opinion. We really need to learn to say less. Social feeds are full of sarcasm, racism, sexism, religious arguments, ridiculous live streams, oversharing of personal business, political arguments, half-nude pictures, and self-serving entitlement. People vent their strongest one-sided views and challenge people to unfriend them. We barely speak to our closest friends anymore, but we put all of our most personal details online. Everyone has simultaneously adopted this toxic self-entitlement. No one's allowed to offend anyone ever, but everybody's more and more offended with absolutely any and everything. It's a unique and frightening time in America. Those who fought so hard for our beloved rights, the freedom of speech and the freedom of press, now revoke it in the name of their need for respect. I don't know why we continue to act as if we're allowed to say whatever we want to. I also don't understand the incessant need to share every opinion that we have and allow it to magnify the things that divide us. Like most people, I'm not going to easily change my mind based on someone's trying to influence my behavior or opinion. My perceptions, experiences, beliefs, and ideas are my own. If I have factual information, if I have a relevant or useful tip to share, I will share it. However, if it's rejected by the person that I'm sharing it with, I will politely discontinue my narrative. Now, if I happen to notice that all of the news stations are forecasting a 98-degree humid day, and I see somebody wearing a bulky, heavy winter coat, I'm probably going to tell them, you realize it's supposed to be 98 degrees today, right? And if they say, well, I think it's going to be cold, hey, I'm going to let them sweat that on out. It does not affect me in the least. And anytime that I lose trying to argue with them, it's just not worth it to me. Matthew 10:14 says, "And whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear your words, when you depart out of that house or city, shake the dust off your feet." Or as I said it on our song, Bigger Than Us,
I can keep on walking forward, shake the dust from my feet.
Read the room has become a really popular catchphrase, which basically means to know your audience. Some people literally do not learn from their mistakes, and they're also not going to learn from you sharing what you've gained from your own. Proverbs 10:21 tells us that the lips of the righteous feed many, but fools die for lack of sense. No matter how good your intentions, some people are just not going to accept good advice. A mocker doesn't love one who corrects him. He will not consult the wise. Proverbs 15:12. There are many fools among us, and for this reason, the Bible gives us a lot of scripture to deal with fools. Perhaps the best advice comes from Proverbs 14:7, which says, "Stay away from a foolish man. You will gain no knowledge from his words." Let me tell you, once I've engaged in enough conversation to assess that someone's not very bright, I can't get away fast enough. While two people who are otherwise friends engage in a dispute on social media, it can sometimes spiral to a point of insult that can be really hard to pull back together, because even when one person finally says it's all love or tries to end it on a positive note, it can still sometimes be hard to reach that other person at that point. Proverbs 18:19 tells us an offended brother is harder to reach than a fortified city, and quarrels are like the bars of a fortress. Think about that, guys, a fortress. Nothing's getting through there. This may be your last opportunity to engage that offended brother or sister. Is it worth it? Foolish debates, genealogies, controversies, and disputes, because they are unprofitable and worthless. Reject a divisive person after a first and second warning, knowing that such a person is perverted in sins. Titus 3:9-11. A fool does not delight in understanding, but only wants to show off his opinions. Proverbs 18:2. Trying to impart wisdom to a fool is futile. Doesn't matter if it's your coworker, your Facebook friend, your spouse, your mother, futile. Proverbs 26:4 says that answering a fool according to his foolishness makes you a fool as well. Don't waste your time. I've seen too many arguments end with both parties frustrated, angry, and red-faced, and neither one of them have budged an inch. There's such a compulsion to do the opposite for some reason. If you see a video or an article or a post that you don't agree with or don't care for, you don't have to thumbs down it. You don't have to make a rotten comment. It is perfectly okay and preferred if you would just scroll past and just keep it moving. When I was a kid, I remember watching the cartoon Bambi, and there was a cartoon rabbit on there named Thumper, and he said, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. So there you have it, my entire video summed up by a cartoon rabbit who clearly understands the importance to say less. Have a blessed day, guys.